I wrote an article a couple of weeks ago about this term that I've coined, symptom-skepticism in MEM1. It is basically that moment where you take a symptom to your consultant or whoever, you're absolutely insistent that it's MEM1 related, but they resist that entirely, like they absolutely categorically say it's not. And then you're left with this question, which is like, I'm absolutely insistent that it is, so like I'm just going to persist and persist and persist, but you don't actually get anywhere. So I know patients who wouldn't be alive right now had they not fought tooth and nail for a diagnosis. And it is completely unacceptable to ever be turned away without help or direction in any healthcare system, and I'll say that now. That said, there's a big difference between that extreme and then the other end of the extreme, which is like constantly pushing on a brick wall, like waiting for a door to appear. And that's not just unhealthy, like it's insanity. It's insane to think that you can do the same thing and expect the same results. And for me, it's actually about a moment of self-awareness and being like, is what I'm doing right now working, or am I going around in circles? And if I'm going around in circles, what can I do differently that might bring me about a different outcome? And I had an experience of this 7 or so years ago. I took a set of gut issues to my endocrinologist in MEM1, who said probably not our issue, but let us know if they continue. And they did. So I took them back again and they said, okay, we'll refer you to a dietitian, who ran pancreatic enzyme tests, concluded that it was absolutely nothing to do with MEM1 from what they could see, so in their books. I was told it was probably stress related, to look forward to the end of my exams, and the door was kind of closed there. And we have this expression, which is third time lucky, but I was not gonna go back a third time and wait and see, like hang around and see if like I was gonna get a different result, because something was not working and I could see that for myself. And I wasn't gonna stand there like banging on the bricks being like, whoa, like will someone look at me? I knew intuitively inside something wasn't quite right, and I just wasn't getting the answer, or I wasn't getting an answer or help that I needed here. So I went elsewhere. And it's probably the best decision I ever made to date, because it's helped me change so much about the approach I have to my health. But I had to make that change. It wasn't about sitting there waiting for my medical team to agree with me or to have a revelation. And I think this is what I mean when I talk so much about saving our energy. So I could have put my foot down with them. I could have insisted on the subject. I could have insisted I have another referral, and persisted again, even when they kept resisting. And I might have got somewhere eventually. I don't know. What I do know is that in that process, I would have exhausted myself completely, created unnecessary stress for myself, for everyone around me, and probably aggravated the MEM1 condition in the process. And I just thought, how ironic to be on a healing journey and to make myself more ill. So I always say, like, remember this. An endocrinology team or any ology team, whoever you're under, might be amazing, excellent, and they might know a lot of stuff. And hopefully they do. Mine definitely does, but they cannot be expected to see everything in the same way that I do. And I guess that's why we sit on opposite sides of the desk, because we're coming at the same problem from two very, very different perspectives. And I think understanding this, I have become way better able to gauge when to persist, with whom and about what. And the result is that I'm actually rarely in these situations anymore, because I know where to go to with what, why, when I'm going to them. And I'm not standing in front of a brick wall shouting. And so I get my desired result a lot more quickly and without the stress. And I think it's important to talk about persistence here, because it's a word that's used a lot. And persistence, in my opinion, is not about locking horns and kicking up dust until the other person or the other party agrees. Quite often it's about stepping back and recalibrating and looking at all the options available. Asking myself, why am I here? What am I after? Who can give it to me? When can I get it? Where can I get it? Why? And if the answer for you is, okay, go back to the same person on the same topic as soon as possible, that's absolutely fine. But like, if you keep hitting exhaustion, being stuck, frustration, stress, whatever emotion it might be, that is a sign for me that things need to change. So again, persistence, it's not about digging your heels in. And I need to hear this as much myself. in other areas of my life, and I am learning to ask, like, how can I best use my resources, physical, emotional, social, financial, whatever they might be, to get to where I want to be? And the answer always starts inside here. It's with me. I've found that insisting and resisting, persisting even, is very, very rarely the answer. But once I stop unnecessarily spending valuable energy banging on brick walls, locked doors, you name it, the answer almost always appears very, very soon after, and it's never in the place that I expected it. And I think that's why it's so important to take a step back, take heels out of the mud, whatever it might be, stop kicking up dust, and just ask yourself, like, is what I'm doing working? If it's not, what else can I do differently that might bring me a different outcome? It is the definition of empowerment. It has changed my relationship with my healthcare so much, and I've got healthier as a result of it.